Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat for Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we go to New Hampshire in both the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series, where we had subscriber Jacob Hauge in the car for the Xfinity Series. He's a subscriber from Norway, so finally getting him in the car. He's been a part of the community for a pretty long time now as he came through turns 1 and turns 2, running about in the midfield for the majority of this race, as New Hampshire is certainly a completely different animal in the Xfinity Series versus the Cup Series. You can run a preset in the Cup Series and be very competitive, but not quite the same situation here in Xfinity, as Jacob was running behind the 08 of Greg Gaulding for basically the majority of this race as it came through on the final lap now through turns 3 and out of turns 4, heading down this front straightaway for the final time. Jacob would come through to get at least a decent finish of P16 here for us today in New Hampshire. So obviously now we come through towards qualifying in the Cup Series out of turns 4. It was actually a very good lap from myself. We hit a 28.817, beating our goal by a lot, but we go P2 by none other than the 18 of Kyle Busch. So very unfortunate that we get beat by him, but let's see what we can do here in New Hampshire.
The Cup Series stops at New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the running of the Foxwoods Resort Casino 301. Opened in 1990, this 1-mile oval racetrack is located in Loudon, about 1 hour north of Boston. Another beautiful day in the Northeast. Let's get ready to go racing.
All right, thank you, Rick Allen. I'm ready to go green here at the Foxwoods Resort and Casino 301 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Jamie McMurray failed pre-race inspection, so he is starting at the back. And there you see the pole winner of Kyle Busch, as well as Stenhouse is friends with us. It's just great to have Stenhouse as a friend now as we get ready to go green here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. From the second starting position, can we fight Kyle Busch for another win here today? We've done it twice this season. The green flag is out here in New Hampshire, and we are underway. Behind us, we got the 11 of Denny Hamlin on that second row, joined by the 4 of Kevin Harvick. So it goes JGR, SHR, JGR, SHR for the first 2 rows. Now as we come through turns 1 and turns 2, I went a little bit wide, and that allowed Kyle Busch to get clear as we went down this back straightaway, and he would try his best to check out right away now as we had been clear over Denny Hamlin, so I could defend P2 pretty well as we got right to the back bumper nearly of Kyle Busch, but not quite close enough now, as obviously I don't want to get into the back one this early in the race as we came out of turn 4 coming through to complete this first and opening lap of this first stage here in New Hampshire. I believe it's a 75 lap race if I'm not mistaken, so plenty of time here. As last time we came to this racetrack, we dominated after the point we passed Denny Hamlin late in stage 1. We just drove away from the field after that, so I was expecting, hoping for the same results here today in New Hampshire, but I was a little bit surprised when Kyle Busch had started to pull away from me. I had driven away from the cars behind me. We were easily running P2, but Kyle Busch, he had driven away. He was just kind of on cruise control, it felt like, because Kyle Busch has 7 wins this season, and he just seemed to not really make any big mistakes. He just kind of drives away with the wins, and then no one can really contend with him. We've had a couple chances to beat him at Las Vegas earlier in the season, also very recently at another track. I believe it was Michigan or something like that. I can't even remember, but now as we came through on lap 13, he had continued to drive away, but then the caution actually would come out, and this would force a late stage restart now, as you saw Logano and Keselowski both came to the pit lane for some reason, but this would force 2 laps to go here in stage 1 as we head down towards turns 1 side by side with the 18 of Kyle Busch. Hamlin and Jones on row 2, but there's William Byron going 3 wide up the middle with himself and Alex Bowman. Now as we come out of turn 2, we're slipping and sliding as we go down this back straightaway now. So all of a sudden the handling in this car changed pretty drastically as we go down into turn 3, and it gets loose again. We go way up the track nearly towards that wall, but thankfully we hang on to the car, but the handling just gave up in this car out of nowhere as we came out of turn 4 heading down the straightaway to start the final lap of stage 1. Kyle Busch is in command. He has no pressure really from behind as we go down into turns 1, sliding a little bit again, but we have more control over it this time as we battle back to the outside of the 88 of Alex Bowman, slipping and sliding just a little bit there on the exit of the corner. Now is Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin are on P1 and P2 as we send it up the outside again of Alex Bowman down into turns 3 and turns 4 for this final time here in stage 1. We're going to be side by side on the exit of the corner down this front straightaway. Kyle Busch gets another playoff point with a stage win. Bowman hangs on to P3 as Denny Hamlin gets second. We get 4th, and we have our SHR teammate of Clint Boyer joining us up here on P5. So Boyer's looking a little bit strong today as we would pit for 2 cans of fuel, 4 tires, and I decided that the car was handling so loose at the end, I decided we're going to make a little bit of a wedge adjustment, put it up to 50.2, and see if that will help us towards the end of the second stage as we get ready to go green here for the start of stage 2. There you see, actually, Keselowski and Logano, they pitted under the last caution. They stay out here at the end of stage 1, so they will be leading to the green here in stage 2 as it's Kyle Busch and Hamlin on row 2 as the green flag is back out behind us. It is Bowyer and Jones on that row, so now as we head down towards turns 1, getting into the back of the 11 just a little bit there, as Keselowski, I believe, has won a race here in New Hampshire in the past. So has Joey Logano, if I'm not mistaken. Now as they're going 4 wide behind us, actually, for the moment, as we went down this back straightaway, so them drivers behind us getting very aggressive. William Byron was a part of that, as well as Eric Jones, as we go down into turns 3 on the outside of the 14 of Clint Bowyer. Now as we came through here to actually get clear of us, and now it was Kurt Busch on my inside on the exit of turn 4 as we came through to complete this first and opening lap here of stage 2. Keselowski holds off Kyle Busch, but Kyle Busch has moved up into P2. Logano still up top here as we come through the center of the corner. We get into the back of Denny Hamlin a little bit there, and we actually damage the front end just a little bit. Now as we exit turn 2, we get into the wall now as we come out of the corner, and all of a sudden we put damage on the front end of the car, and then we put damage on the right side of the car, so making some mistakes here in New Hampshire. And it was certainly, I found it kind of hard to rally back from it, because it was really hard to pass here in New Hampshire when we got down and about where I was here, P7, P8, 9th or so, as we made a move up the inside of Jones and Hamlin, but we kind of go up a little too high, and Jones crosses us over. He gets to the bottom, and we drop back down to P9. He would get past Hamlin, and then I would try to fight back to the inside of Denny Hamlin as we run down into turns 1, as Kyle Busch had taken the lead back from Keselowski. At this point, as a gun to the back of Jones now, as we come through out of turns 2, Hamlin is going to take myself and Bowman 3 wide down this back straightaway, but he does not have a ton of momentum down this back straightaway, so we would be able to clear him down into turns 3 as well as get in front of the 88 of Alex Bowman. So up to P7 is Jones. He would make the pass on the 22 of Joey Logano, who was starting to fade later in the second stage, as we would obviously get up into the mix behind Joey Logano. Not until with 2 laps to go in the stage is when we finally had actually gotten to the 22 and gotten to his outside as we came out of turns 2 sideways on the exit of the corner again, as the car was certainly still loose towards the end of the stage, but it was a lot more manageable for myself as we go down into turn 3 with a lap and a half to go. Kyle Busch has a very comfortable 6-7 car length lead or so over Brad Keselowski in P2. So Keselowski made a pit strategy call, and Logano did the same thing when that first caution came out. It's working a little bit for Logano, but it worked very well for Brad Keselowski to go down into turns 1 on this final lap here in stage 2. Kyle Busch, 7 wins on the season, so many stage wins as well, many playoff points, and he looks to add another playoff point here with a stage 2 win as they got loose on the exit of turn 2, allowing Logano to get clear as we go down this back straightaway into turn 3, sending it back up the outside one more time through turns 3 and turns 4. Hamlin and Harvick right behind us trying to pounce on the opportunities. We're out of turns 4. Logano gets clear as we go down this front straightaway. Kyle Busch wins stage 2. We come through behind Logano to get P7. So a very solid result considering how that second stage started for us, but definitely don't seem to have the dominant car that we did last time here in New Hampshire. I didn't really change anything with the car, so I was very disappointed. I just run a preset setup here in New Hampshire because it certainly works pretty well, as we would pit for 2 cans of fuel, 4 tires, no adjustments, but we would fix some damage and lose 1 spot on the pit lane, drop down to P8 on the outside of our teammate of Kevin Harvick. Brad Keselowski would overtake Kyle Busch on the pit lane now as the green flag is back out. The third and final stage is underway here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. 36 laps to go behind the 1 of Kurt Busch and the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Behind us we got the 24 of William Byron, who gets taken 3 wide there by Martin Truex, and now Byron tries to get to my outside as I go to the outside of Hamlin. 3 wide with him and Alex Bowman as we exit turn 2. Hamlin, surprisingly, looking for win number 1 on the season still. Denny Hamlin in our career mode last season was one of the top drivers. I think he had at least 4 or 5 wins. Maybe even 6, but now here he is at New Hampshire, still looking for win number 1 on the season as we kind of squeeze Bowman there and kind of cut his momentum short as we come through to complete this first and opening lap of the third and final stage. But I should mention, Clint Bowyer had actually taken the lead on this restart. So Keselowski was second, Kyle Busch down to P3, and our teammate Clint Bowyer leading the way as he looks for career win number 1 of, or not career win number 1, but win number 1 of the season. I think he's got, probably 6 or 7 career wins now in the Cup Series as we go down into turn 3 of the inside now of Joey Logano. And we were moving our way so much better, moving our way forward so much better here in this third stage now as we had gotten to the back now of the 1 of Kurt Busch as we went down into turns 1, and we'd be able to get ahead of him as it was still Bowyer leading. So quickly moving our way forwards now up to P4 behind Kyle Busch. So certainly showing a lot more speed here in stage 3. We might have a car able to compete for a win here when it comes down to these final laps. Now there's actually trouble as we come out of turns 4 at this point. It's the 40 of McMurray collecting Truex as he goes head on into the pit wall. What in the world just happened to Jamie McMurray? He went hard in the outside wall, and then it looks like it's throttle stuck or something, because he went all the way down to the inside, turned right, and then went straight into the pit wall. So very weird there, as we would get right back into the action. No pit stop necessary, as we're right on the back of Brad Keselowski. We go down into turns 1 here from P4. Kyle Busch is going to get very aggressive and go 3 wide up the inside with Bowyer and Keselowski. He's going to go from P3 to P1 through turns 1 and turns 2. So Kyle Busch looking to get 8 wins on the season, as we got to be aggressive. We know we have a better car here in stage 3. We send it up the inside of Clint Bowyer, and now we would fight through it to take over the 3rd position as we came out of turns 4 and setting our sights now on Keselowski. But unfortunately, we actually struggled a little bit to get past Keselowski. We come through now on lap 54, still right with them at least. We just didn't quite have the speed to get past them, as it was almost like stage 2 where it was hard to pass as we got very sideways on the exit of turn 2, losing a spot to Bowyer as we came through now on lap 56, trying to get past Bowyer after that little mistake happened as we go down into turns 3. We're a little bit sideways again, and now we're big time sideways onto the apron. We go sliding, and now we're in the grass sliding again, and we have to avoid the pit lane, and we go into the outside wall here in New Hampshire now as the caution is going to come out. What in the world just happened to the car? We got 7 seconds of damage, so no point of the DNF rule does not come into effect with 7 seconds of damage, so we don't have to worry about that. But our race just gets completely turned around as we're going to have to come to the pit lane, and obviously we would take 2 cans of fuel and 4 tires. But it was certainly weird. The car just kind of snapped on me as we have a terrible restart. As there was a stack up, I went down into 3rd gear and everything just went wrong. But like I said, it was really weird. The car just snapped, and then unfortunately it didn't quite work out, because when I was sliding through the grass, I realized that I was coming up on the pit lane based off where I was, and obviously I would have been speeding into the pit lane, and then I would have gotten a penalty there. So I just kind of spun the car to the right. Well, I was hoping I wasn't going to hit anything. Unfortunately, we went straight into the outside wall, but I had the car slowed down enough to where we didn't get severe damage on the car, only 7 seconds worth. As you see on the track map, it was actually Chris Buescher leading for a moment, and then Harvick had taken the lead, so Kyle Busch no longer leading this race as we go 5 wide there for a moment. Truex, McMurray, Elliott, Keselowski, they were all involved, so that's certainly a bit of a moment there as we would continue working our way forwards. On lap 65, we get into the back of Austin Dillon, because the car in front of him of BJ McLeod is blowing up as we had fought our way now up inside the top 15, and McLeod now is going to go spinning behind us through turns 3 and turns 4. You would think, oh, that's an easy caution. No caution came out. I was not sure why in the world they stayed green, but McLeod would stay on the track as we came through down into turns 3 and turns 4 up to P13, battling with Eric Almirola. We come out of turns 4, and it's a complete mess in front of us because McLeod stayed out. There's cars littered everywhere. Now as we're going to get into the back of Newman, and there's a 14 of our teammate of Clint Bowyer stopped on the inside. Well, there's McLeod with the blown engine up on the outside, while Kurt Busch was slow. We all of a sudden are up in the top 10 with some damage on the front end. Certainly everything going crazy at this point, as there was less than 10 laps to go as we came through now on lap 68. We had gotten into this group of cars in front of us, passing Denny Hamlin, working on passing Eric Jones now, as we certainly still had the 4 fresh tire advantage, I felt, now as we came through with 7 laps to go. Down into turns 1, the caution finally comes out when it should have came out like 10 laps earlier. Now as this would obviously set up for a late race restart here. Now in New Hampshire from P8, it would be just 4 laps to go once we cross the line here in New Hampshire. So William Byron there in front of us actually got very aggressive there, trying to look to the outside of him, and then actually hit the wall like an idiot. Now as Byron though goes up the inside of Logano 3 wide, there you see Chris Buescher in the mix. Buescher in the battle points wise to make it still into the playoffs, so this is very good for him as we battle side by side with William Byron, who's also having a very solid run here today in New Hampshire. We go 3 wide there with him, and I believe it was Eric Jones on the bottom, but Kyle Busch was back out front at this point. Kyle Busch just cannot be stopped as we exit turn 4 up into P6. Somehow we have rallied back with damage on the car. A wild final stage this has been. Now as we crashed, Jamie McMurray was all over the place, running into the pit wall, and then we had BJ McLeod blow an engine, stay on track, cause a crash, and then he keeps going around and then causes a complete mess with the leaders. We came through now with just 2 laps to go. Obviously we're not in the battle for the win at this point unless we get a caution, but we go 3 wide with our teammate of Harvick, and we make contact with him. He slows up, and now we're up to P4 behind Chris Buescher as Kyle Busch leads the way as we came through now on the final lap and down into turns 1 of the inside or outside of Chris Buescher through turns 1, and on the exit of turn 2, Bowman having a great run here today in P2 as we go down this back straightaway for the final time here in New Hampshire. Kyle Busch has 7 wins on the season, and he comes through turns 3 and turns 4 for the final time as we battle with Chris Buescher. We have the momentum, and Kyle Busch will come through to get win number 8 on the season as we hold on to get P3 somehow here in New Hampshire, just behind Alex Bowman. So Kyle Busch, 8 wins on the season. He won every stage here today. That's another big group of playoff points for Kyle Busch's Blaney. He DNF'd as well, as I said after the race. Wild final stage for sure. Glad we could rebound, obviously, from that mess that happened. I could not believe what all went down there and what progressed in that third and final stage. But after the race, we had some drivers that weren't very thrilled with us. Austin Dillon, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, all annoyed, so we apologize to them all. And as always, if you guys did enjoy this episode, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Those would all be very appreciated. But here we are going to see now the playoff grid going into the next race, which I believe is Pocono. Yes, it is, so that's going to be a blast. But Kyle Busch has 52 playoff points already, and he's still got a handful of races before the playoffs start. So Chris Buescher is 24 out. Jimmy Johnson, 37 points down now. Johnson has a lot of work to do, same as Kyle Larson, who's 42 out. Byron holds the last playoff spot between him and Blaney, who are going to battle it out there as well. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have yourselves a great day.